It's me again, YouTube, the Shadow King Nazareth. I have made it no secret that I am not a fan of the Raimiman trilogy. That would be Raimi Spider-Man for people who don't know. I've pointed out its plot holes, its unlikable characters, the fact that it's butchers the source material in terms of character portrayal and adaptation of the story arcs, usage of Deus Ex Machina, retcons, everything. I said that it practically peaked in the first movie and everything else was just complete and utter crap. But the third movie was slightly better than the second movie. And the second movie just infuriates me to no end. Even past the fact that some people have said, "You don't know what you're talking about. Raimi Spider-Man is the best movies ever. You're the worst Spider-Man fan ever. If you were a true Spider-Man fan, you would be boycotting the Amazing Spider-Man movies and having them sell the rights to Marvel so they can put them in the Avengers." No, I've learned that recently that some people were just going to boycott the Amazing Spider-Man 2 even before it came out, even before they had any idea what the script was going to be like, just so they could get him into Marvel, so he could be in the Avengers. So you don't care about whether or not he gets his own story, his doing movies that are best for his character. You just want to focus on him being in the Avengers. That is pathetic, and I'm being called the worst Spider-Man fan ever. But that point aside, um, I've learned some recent details about the Raimiman trilogy that I think should be brought up. So here are some things I learned that I didn't cover in my review of all three of them. Number one, the Green Power Ranger knockoff's plan to take over the world, or lack thereof. So, Green Power Ranger knockoff decides he wants to take over the world. Putting aside the fact that, as opposed to his comic book counterpart, where he got that desire because Norman Osborn was a power-hungry sociopath and not an insane person with multiple personality disorder. Yes, Green Goblin is not a split personality. This Green Power Ranger knockoff, even as Norman, never had that desire. So it seems pretty contrived, but that's besides the point. The real problem is he has not thought of a way to carry this out. He spends way too much time trying to get Raimiman to join him, and when he refuses, he spends more time trying to get back at him for saying no, and for later on when he figures out his identity for supposedly harming Harry. So let's put in this in-case scenario. If he did say that he agreed to join Green Power Ranger knockoff, and Raimiman asked how they're going to take over the world, Green Power Ranger knockoff would be shocked that he did not come up with a plan, and I'm pretty sure if Raimiman had any sense, he would ditch him. Worst supervillain ever. Anyway, let's see what else. Oh yeah, number two. The whole "I'm back" scene. So Raimiman, after doing horrendous things such as ditch a guy getting mugged, with his only excuse being that he doesn't have any powers, even though he could have done the decent thing and called the police, decides that after seeing all these horrible things happen with him being absent, that he has to find it in himself to become Raimiman. So, what's his plan? To jump between two buildings. And, as expected, he falls down to the ground. The hard concrete ground. From a 3 to 6 story foot building. And he only. No, I'm gonna do this. He only gets a fractured spine. I'm no medical expert, but I'm pretty sure that if somebody fell from that height, they would be paralyzed from pain, unable to walk, or more likely, they would have been killed. You know how I said that the cafe of Deus Ex Machina destroyed my suspension of disbelief? I take it back. This is the scene that destroyed my suspension of disbelief. Hate this movie. Alright, number 3. The Cafe of Deus Ex Machina scene. So, let's put aside everything else I've said about that scene. Doc Ock threw a cab at Raimiman, the unsuspecting Raimiman. And here's the question. He managed to pull this off with nobody screaming until the camera pulled attention to him. How did he do that? I'm pretty sure he would be outside in the open where everybody could see him. Why didn't anybody call the police? Why is anyone screaming for help? Do these people have some aversion to getting the police to handle these things? To quote confused Matthew, fuck this. Fuck this bullshit. This movie has been nothing but ass garbage. Ugh. Ugh. You know, I had one more thing. I was going to talk about how Harry was completely pointless um, because his whole motivation was getting revenge against Raimiman, even though Raimiman or the butler could just tell him the truth, or the fact that the police could do an autopsy on his father and pretty much figure out that his father killed himself when trying to kill Raimiman. So everything about him was freaking pointless throughout the trilogy. But no, actually, I just pretty much covered that whole thing. So that's pretty much everything. So yeah, let's recap. All those things happened. All those things make the movies even crappier. I'm not the worst Spider-Man fan ever. Far from it. And people need to stop praising these movies like they're some kind of damn masterpiece. I've said my piece. That's all.